The 400-strong military police task force deployed on Monday to halt illegal mining operations will also have the added responsibility of reclaiming forests that have been destroyed as a result of the Galamsey menace. The heavily armed units, which left a crowd to Galamsey endemic areas in the Ashanti, Eastern and Western regions, are mainly to ensure the operators are flushed out. They had with them 4 armored and 13 police patrol vehicles, 2 mobile clinics and an ambulance. Joining News' Maxwell Agbagba was at the Burma camp here in Accra, from where the Operation Vanguard troops were dispatched, and filed this report.
The chants of the men tasked with the responsibility to halt a menace blamed for the pollution of many water bodies, destruction of farmlands and loss of lives. The Joint Military and Police Task Force chant one of the many songs purposely composed to boost their morale, was serving notice to the illegal miners. At the deployment parade, the various sector ministers with a stake in the task force took turns to warn the illegal miners not to dare the task force as they set out to start the operations.
I know that the men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces are professionals. The men and women of the police service are professionals, and you will do a professional job. But that is the reason why I will make it straight to the people who are daring the task force not to do that. Because the country is behind the task force. Don't dare them. It will not be in your interest to dare them. The country is behind them, and they'll do everything and anything to make this mission a success. And where did we go wrong to get to this stage that a government would have to put a team together to go and stop illegal mining? Illegal mining that has assumed international standard, that our neighbors are complaining that we are spoiling their waters.
Chairman of the Interministerial Task Force on Illegal Mining, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, had some strong words for small-scale miners in the Ashanti region who had threatened the task force.
Let me comment on an issue which was brought to my attention last week. It was reported that a group calling itself members of the Ashanti Regional Small-Scale Miners Association, at a press conference held in Kumasi, has threatened to fight military personnel who will be deployed by government to stop its members from going to their various mining sites. Members of the association are reported to have stated at a press conference that, and I quote, "Ghana will be like Ivory Coast if they dare prevent us from visiting our sites." My advice to any aggrieved association or groups of people is that they should not attempt to stampede, obstruct, or use any unlawful means to prevent this task force from exercising its mandate. The doors of the government and indeed the ministers are still open for dialogue. But let me be clear, any attempt at impeding the work of the task force will be met with requisite force.
He added the task force will not leave their bases until illegal mining has been completely eradicated.
This task force will remain in the affected areas until degraded land and rivers are restored and reforestation program undertaken. Thereafter, another team to be made up of personnel from the Ghana Navy and Marine Police will take over the monitoring of the major rivers and water bodies until illegal activities are completely eradicated.
On his part, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry urged the task force not to be blinded by the nationality of the illegal miners. He advised the team to deal with them irrespective of where they are from.
Respect the rights of those you deal with, but where necessary, the law permits you to use reasonable force, which is determined by the force of your opponent. Your targets, actors, illegal miners, regardless of their nationality, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Togolese, Beninois, English, American, Chinese, Russian, among others.
Lands and Natural Resources Minister John Peter Mewu says government has assured the troops of additional logistics should they be required.
It's just a display of some of the logistics that we have. The morale in the forces alone tells you whether the logistics are enough or not. But I can tell you the morale is quite high. The president is determined, and the president has made a lot of sufficient resources for now to continue this fight. And as you stated, this is not a piecemeal approach to go in and come out. This is going to be a sustainable approach. And I believe in the presidency, just as Ghanaians believe in his presidency.
Operation Vanguard has been duly launched here at the Burma camp. Now, going out right now are the various logistics deployed to fight the illegal mining menace. Now, these vehicles, you can see Operation Vanguard carefully embossed them. 13 patrol vehicles are the ones being deployed to the eastern, western, and Ashanti regions.
Right, so one of the Galamsey endemic areas that the troops will be working from is the Ashanti region. Erastus Asarodonko is joining us live from Konongo, which also has quite a bit of Galamsey activity taking place there. Hello, Erastus. Now, what's been the reaction of the people there to the fact that the troops are making their way to the town?
Well, the announcement that the task force is coming to Ashanti region, they are starting their work in earnest, has been received with anger and uncertainty. And you can see a number of illegal miners, some who have been working here for a long time, with me here. When we announced that we were coming here to seek their reaction, in fact, they are pouring in their numbers, and we can no longer contain them, so we have to do with this few here. Let me find out from them directly how they feel. Let me start with you. Frosty. Now, what said abiding at the task force at Galamsey Pesi to us or Asante Memone Ghana baby? Send a movie.
Yeah, very sad. Yeah, very sad to the president because Ejma Labiru Konongo, Galamsey, and a young to go Galamsey in the two Abamana. So, about why you Oba Konongo Beshe was a Obeshed Mankina, no Megunu. You tape or boy train. And Oba and so be good mana or the soldier for by Yenya Bonibia. We live in Galamsey, Galamsey DDD. Konongwani na Galamsey DDD. No so be you may be any and so be guna. Asante chimney na Galamsey DDD. No so be guna, then you
Well, in essence, what he's saying is that, well, when Nanado was campaigning, they heard him, they have tapes to confirm that, indeed, he said he was going to make Galamsey better, mining better, not to collapse the mining activity. So this is the mainstay of the people. They do not have any other job. So if he's collapsing the job, what are they going to feed on? That's what he's saying. I'm for Aka. In Suya said no near the winter my buying a person or the nice forms and a bear, Sanya Mano, a bedges. They see a task force in a bandiana.
Oh, you'll be an Yajuma. Konon will be an Yajuma. Obia and Yajuma. Yanya Lovian Soa, Kruma. Yet a down with Jumania, yet down 50 and I'm down with Jumania and I'm Tia, Obiano Yaluvia, Obiano Sensu. You can go to wet my coins when we soon I clear Kononwa. Ejuma, you're down with Juma. Galamsey ye down with Juma. Obi no saying so Kruma. Because yes when I clear.
So what he's saying is that they do not destroy water bodies, they do not destroy the land, they go underground. It's been done centuries. That is what they are benefiting from. Let me find out from others. Also so send a wuno. Also yeah Juma be.
No kwa me yebi.
Why in few years saying?
Oh no, my about 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Say aban se munyai ye the task force ba ye be see a home bra dia na send na wo hu no
no na yes aban say eno mum de ne ya adwe no enko to the sense say adwuma no am say aban aba ko aban aba eno na ye de hwe ye nua no even ato ye nua no ko secondary school.
Right, we're obviously having some challenges with the line to Erastus in Konongo. We have restored the line. Let's go back to him.
Water bodies. I'm saying Sanitation region high one. Water body ajuma. Yanya love the ajuma. And I even at all. Top pump people so. Underground. A basro. Yan destroy and so be what I say, yeah, so, yeah, born so, but yeah, ball and so say, you so be so, and I tell you, I'm an hobby. You better upon a choppy. Yen Yanamia father and Yana, and one of your home. Kakakakra, at your best romo, your best rano. Some lay answer of the idea. Yes, so many kakakra, no man soon perform, I say, yes, so be not your sense so. Because I say and sense what they are. Obama Yajuma, Nayan sense so. Yabasanado, Yapanacho, one try mobile.
Well, so in effect, he's just appealing to Nanado that he should allow them. They are not destroying water bodies. He should allow them to continue to work whilst they continue to feed their families with it. That is what he's been doing for 20 years, and he's been using that to feed his family. So they are asking Nanado to help them do the work better and be able to take care of their family. Perhaps I'll speak with the last person here. Diana also working.
Your friend Dentony, I'm Mr. Konogod, Marcia Yana, my Galamse, Jubana, and one year. Overkaya, ever two abano, and another Obeshe, Bosse Galamseno. And this is for Obaguno. Nanya no Obaguno. Bosch and a crime say, so Obama or Biatia, or so no more. No, I cannot because on say you know, a Juma or Ghana Hanono, and no sooner Boama Ghana, and as Obia home for your school. Yeah, you've just mamma, TV, or Munyan, and Galamse, Jumani, near the show. So, compare, young Mimi Toka, and this is latest, and I'm going to go grass at the Koya campaign. So, the Bea, Nanado Baba, Ama, as someone will catch and say, oh, Baba said, Manu can I in your home for one. The Koya campaign says, and this is the man, yes, no, but Miss Pandis can say the Bea, Nana Baba, may be in a Bamfaso. Oh, by was it there be oh? There is no so you know a pen or panel. Oh, by what a 2 and but there were pen away and 2 who because of what? Yeah, say and so yes, so
tax force no no Mapakimunia,
I'm packing a Niama. Young Paki and Niama, you per se, Omoba no Pamuya, near Musa and Ado, Ghana no on pay you to know, or Pamia in Amanako, no one who had Nasi, no Ghana has say, no, I said, no, go Galamse, yeah, so and sense, or Biano, or got to know your
Mon Paki Muniama free.
Paki and Niama, because Galamseno, and one year. And one had to show and no more school, and one had to show.
Well, so you heard them. They are saying that they have not packed their things. They are not packing from the bush. This is what they do. They are waiting for the task force to come and drive them away, and then they will know that the president has really indeed driven them from their livelihood. Perhaps so that is the concern. Feel that their livelihoods have been cut off. They are not happy with it, and they will continue to stay and work in the bush until they are flushed out by the task force.
Earlier at Owari Mines, where you've been speaking with some other miners there, what did you find out at that place?
Well, when we went to the Owari Mines, we had some of the workers who were stationed there, and their grievance was that they are traveling to Accra to picket at the Lands Ministry, and their problem is that, well, they have asking government to intervene because they believe that the Owari Mines management has leased their concession to illegal miners to continue to mine, and that has fallen on deaf ears for a long time. So tomorrow they are coming over to Accra to picket there until government decides to take over the Owari Mines concession and find a suitable investor to be able to pay their 20-month arrears. So we found them with placards demonstrating over there, preparing to travel to Accra to picket at the Lands Ministry.
All right, let's watch them.
We'll be going to Accra tomorrow because for the past 4 months or so that we petitioned the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Peter Mehu, about our unpaid salary and the illegal mining activities which is ongoing here at our mines. This is actually being perpetrated by the directors of the company in the presence of Eric Williams and then Fred Okai.
These are management members,
they are the
directors of our mines.
Yes, of our mines. And they have ceded portions, about half of this concession, to illegal miners. Where we are standing is Alpine Pit. It's one of the numerous sites that they have given to these illegal miners who are working 24/7. Despite government ultimatum to end Galamsey activities ongoing here, Konongo, as for the Konongo mines, they have not heard that government ultimatum.
That is your allegation. You have proof or evidence of this, that management itself knows about this concession. They have given room for illegal miners to do this here?
Yes. As we speak, I have video evidence showing percentage of the illegal miners, their load that directors and the management of this company keep at the security office of the company. So this is not something new here. So far as we, the workers of our mines, are concerned, we are fully aware that this illegal mine activity is being perpetrated by the directors of the company. As we speak, we have military men on site since July 2016 that they have been here. They came under the pretense of protecting lives and properties. Meanwhile, illegal mining continues unabated. So the fact that we have military men and Galamsey is ongoing and nobody is driving them away, what do you expect us to say?
So you are saying that even as government inaugurates a task force today, full of military and police personnel across the country to stop this canker, you're saying that it's happening in Konongo under the watch of military men. So what will happen to the task force? You think their work will be compromised?
Exactly. Because as for Konongo mines, we have military men on site.
Right, so that was Erastus Society call there, speaking with some workers at Owerri mines at Konongo in the Ashanti region. Now, the Eastern region is another one of the places where the Anti-Galamsey Task Force will be working from. We're joined on the line by Maxwell Kudoko, who's there. Hello, Maxwell. Now, can you tell us which areas are most endemic in the Eastern region? Yes, Maxwell, we can hear you. Right, we have lost Maxwell. They would have to reach Maxwell later on, but we're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. But still ahead in the bulletin, the finance minister has described as worse than imagined the true state of the Ghanaian economy inherited from the previous administration, but says he's working to make it better.
Because of the prudent economic policies, improved fiscal discipline, and competent management of the economy, the macro indicators for the first half of the year are pointing in the right direction.
The minority have their own verdict on the way the economy has been managed in the last 6 months. To stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit.
Nice to say that, unfortunately, the budget is being revised from Asempa budget to Asembone budget. Asembone budget.
Now we're returning to our anti-Galamsey story. Now the deployment of the task force, a task force has been deployed, made up of military and police personnel, numbering about 400. They've been deployed to 3 regions: the Eastern region, the Ashanti region, and the Western region, and they're mainly to deal with Galamsey activities and try and bring a halt to it. We're going to the Eastern region now, one of the areas identified as endemic. We have Maxwell Kudoku standing by. Hello, Maxwell. We lost you earlier on the line. Now, can you tell us which areas the Galamsey Task Force will be focusing on as far as the Eastern region is concerned?
Predominantly, they will be operating from or within the Achim communities where the illegal mining is pervasive there, according to security officers or members of the Security Council. We are told they are going to pitch camp, or they have zoned the areas into three. They are going to pitch camp, one camp at Abrim, where they will take care of areas like Noyim and other communities that are affected by the illegal mine. The second camp will be pitched at Anyinem. The Anyinem camp, I'm told, is going to take care of areas like Anyinem, Kwabeng, Abumosu, and the Etiwa range, and then also beyond Etiwa, where the Brim River also passes through before it gets to Chebi in itself. The third camp, I'm told, is going to be set at Asamankase. The Asamankase camp will take care of areas like Akwatia, Kede, Achimda, and the other environs or within that sector. So briefly, there are three camps that the task force are going to set for this operation.
Right, Maxwell, we've been speaking with the Rasta Sasaradonko in the Shanti region, Konongo to be precise, and clearly the Galamsey operators are not excited about the arrival of the troops. How about the eastern region? Have you been able to pick up any feed?
Earlier, I spoke with a couple of residents in Akwatia and also some around the Anyinem or the Kwabin area. The sentiment is almost the same across the Galamsey areas. The people who are directly involved in the Galamsey activity claim the mining is the spine of the economy, or that holds them within the community. So any attempt to clamp down or stop Galamsey entirely would mean that most of them would be unemployed and it's going to affect them. Those involved are not too happy with it. They claim that the president earlier during the 2016 campaign and even in 2012 promised that he was not going to collapse the Galamsey business, but was rather going to make it more attractive. But the president have turned down his own words. Right. But a couple of people who are also not directly involved in the Galamsey activity, some of the residents who are not too happy about the activity of the mining and the devastation caused the land, also tells me that they are very, very happy about the president's decision to clamp down. In those communities, they are in the minority. Majority of the people in the mining community are not for the president. A couple of them who are not in mining are supportive of the president's initiative to increase security visibility in the area. But the major concern those people are raising is that most of the time when the security are sent for operation, they concentrate in the capitals. They don't go interior where the devastation is going on. So they pleaded that the task force should not reside, or they should not just pitch camp at the district capital, but they should go and then patrol the river banks, especially the Brim River and the deep bushes where these people or illegal miners go and mine, especially at dawn. We are working on the aftermath of the minister's order, and we realize that most of the Galamseyers or the illegal miners work at night deep in the forest. So the people are calling for an extra work done. All right,
thank you very much, Maxwell Kudoko, bringing us that update from the eastern region. Now on to the rest of our stories. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has described as worse than imagined the state of the economy the Kufuor administration inherited from the previous government. Delivering the midterm budget review in Parliament on Monday, he said the true state of the economy became apparent only after updated figures from the Ghana Statistical Service became available. That notwithstanding, Mr. Ofori-Atta says the current administration is working to make the economy better.
In the 2017 budget, we provided information on macro-fiscal developments for the 2016 fiscal year. We, however, now have updated information which has resulted in the revision of the sum of the macro-fiscal variables for 2016. With your permission, Mr. Speaker, let me provide updates on these macroeconomic indicators. GDP growth. Provisional data released by the Ghana Statistical Service in April 2017 showed that real GDP growth for 2016 was 3.5%, against the provisional estimate of 3.6% reported in the 2017 budget. and lower than the 3.8% recorded for 2015, the lowest in over 15 years. The services sector, which though was the best growth performer in 2016, recorded a growth of barely 5.7%, followed by the agriculture sector growing at 3%, and the industry sector, which contracted by 1.4%. The economy we inherited, Mr. Speaker, was severely impaired. Mr. Speaker, on the fiscal front, updated information shows that the end 2016 fiscal deficit was worse than previously estimated, at 9.3% of GDP compared to the provisional figure of 8.7% of GDP on cash basis at the time of presenting the 2017 budget. This represents the worst performance since the record deficit of 2012, essentially questioning where progress was made over the previous 4 years to get the economy going. The deficit on commitment basis is now at 10.9% of GDP, up from 10.3% previously reported. This revision has been occasioned by the reversal of interest payment for the non-marketable instrument that fell due at the end of 2016 but recorded as part of 2017 flows, as well as a revision of the 2016 GDP by the Ghana Statistical Services in April 2017.
Now, MPs on both the majority and minority sides have been contributing to the budget statement. Let's hear them.
Let me, for the record, raise two pertinent procedural issues to guide this House for tomorrow. The House on Friday approved the business statement of this House. In that business statement was a motion for a mid-year review of the budget. It does not take us only to come to the floor of Parliament and change that to a statement. Mr. Speaker, it does not serve the public interest nor the good people of Ghana for us to reduce a major issue of a statement on the economic policy of government and fiscal policy to Order 70, which says it shall not provoke debate. Mr. Speaker, the essence why this is a House responsible for deliberation is for the Minister of Finance, whilst he listens to both sides, to improve his economic and financial management for the good of the Ghanaian people.
I think it's important, once again, to restate the issue about whether or not we would have required a motion to debate the media review. Mr. Speaker, I think at the very outset, we laid this matter to rest. Mr. Speaker, whenever we have had a media review, it has always come with supplementary estimates. The supplementary estimate will require Parliament to take a decision on it. At the end of it all, Mr. Speaker will put a question. Mr. Speaker, our orders define question to me, and I'm quoting, except in respect of the question time or period and the question of privileges. Question means a proposal presented to Parliament or a committee thereof by the Speaker or the Chairman for consideration and decision or disposal in some manner. The Speaker, which aspects of this statement or this information that has been transmitted to us requires of this Parliament to make a decision? The Speaker, I cannot understand.
The opportunity. Today we have been told that when a head of a family fails to raise the revenue to feed his children and they sleep with hunger, we should praise them for it. You are supposed to raise revenue and provide services. You have failed. You say we should clap for you. Thank you very much. It is only under this government that you bring a budget that is approved on the 31st. And by the 1st of April, you take credit for January, February, March. It is only under this government. But what is the reality? The reality is very simple. The reality is very, very simple. Figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service indicates that as of June, Ghana's economy minus oil and gas grew by 3.9%.
In the same period last year, with our oil, His Excellency John Dramani Mohammed government is 6.3%.
I've heard the Finance Minister speak eloquently about the very competent manner in which he and his team have managed the economy. Let me congratulate him and also to tell him to hasten slowly. When he reaches a moment where inflation has gone down into single digits and kept there for a period of 3 years, he can come for some boasting. When he reaches a moment when he's able to grow the economy of Ghana to at least 14%, he can count for some praises. When he's able to reach a moment when he's able to take treasury bills down to below 10% to about 9%, he can count for some praises. Until then, it's important for the Ministry of Finance to hasten very slowly.
We inherited 2.8 import cover and a whooping 122 billion. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, things cannot be the same. This government has done so much in less than 7 months, in these 6 months. So I believe we should let the world know that in 6 months we have made significant strides.
First of all, I want to thank the Honorable Minister for, if I can borrow from the majority leader's words, for presenting or transmitting information to us. Mr. Speaker, the Minister transmitted information to us all right, but he transmitted from out of coverage area.
Now we have some more reactions to the midterm review, budget review that was presented by the Finance Minister in Parliament today. Do stay tuned for that. We'll be going to the Abosokai spare parts lane to hear from them as well. Up next, we bring you business news.
Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. The Finance Minister, Ken Uforiata, says government has approved the restructuring of the Volta River Authority agenda and is already in cabinet. When it goes through the implementation process, the document will enhance nationalized power generation in the country. Ken Uforiata of the
which have contracted so many power purchase agreements well beyond the country's demand, which have the potential to exacerbate the already dire financial crisis in the sector. As promised by His Excellency the President in the 2017 State of the Nation address, Cabinet is deliberating the strategy paper submitted by the Ministry of Energy towards rationalizing the PPAs to ensure least cost power generation capacity additions. On the regulatory front, Cabinet has approved the establishment of the Electricity Market Oversight Panel, EMOP. The EMOP has been provided under the Electricity Regulations, LI 1937, but has not seen the light of day since 2008. The EMOP is to be inaugurated in August 2017 to begin implementation of its mandate. Mr. Speaker, one key intervention the government has promised in the 2017 budget was the restructuring of VRA to bring about increased operational efficiency and private sector investment in the power sector. Government has approved the VRA restructuring agenda submitted by the Ministry to Cabinet, and processes towards the implementation of the restructuring agenda have begun under the coordination of the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Speaker, in the renewable energy front, government has given approval to GUI Power to collaborate with Sino-Hydro to construct a 250-megawatt solar power facility to operate as a hybrid electricity generation source to complement the hydroelectricity so that View Power Plant can enhance its electricity generation capacity during off-peak periods.
Let's now get some reactions by some personalities who sat through the Finance Minister's presentation in Parliament.
I don't think the government is restraining expenditure as a deliberate policy choice. You know, it's in
IMF.
Well, no. In fact, you know, the expenditure is driven by revenue. you only spend what you have. So they are being compelled to hold back expenditure because of the underperformance of revenue. So the more constructive, productive solution is to address the revenue challenges, and that's what we're looking forward to seeing.
You're hearing that they're going to do some cuts as well in expenditure, but that will be non-essential items. Some have said that as cosmetic and all those things. What are your views on that one as well?
Well, I would say that we need a comprehensive review of public spending in Ghana. There are items that constitute rigidities, like wages and salaries, like the huge debt service costs, which are difficult to cut. But there's room also to touch expenditures that may not be generating the levels of efficiency required. And it's a difficult balancing act, but where revenues are seriously underperforming and you need to restrain your borrowing, you certainly have to look at restraining expenditure. But you have to do it intelligently, cleverly, making sure that those expenditures that affect productivity and economic growth more will be saved somewhat.
In spite of our inability to rake in all the revenue we thought we would rake in at the time of the budget, we are able to keep the deficit within target. And so far, we are within target and projected. We are even improving from 6.5% to 6.3%. I think it is good news. But perhaps for most people out there, it is our commitment, in spite of this, to deliver on the social interventions and our flagship initiatives, the free SHS, the LEAP, and all the other one district, one factory, we have preserved in spite of this effort to get the deficit right. We have still been able to protect these initiatives. I think by all indications, the delivery has been good, the management strategy has been good.
And away from the mid-year review, some stakeholders in the fabrics and garments industry have welcomed government's planned bid for new strategic partners to revamp the Volta Star Textiles Limited. They believe revamping the company will be a huge relief for the industry in line with government's industrialization agenda. This follows some revelations the company is facing dire financial crisis for some time now. There's more in this report.
Minister of Trade and Industry Alan Chomanteng announced the decision to open the bid for new potential investors last week, citing the inability of the initial investors' Bullion Investment Consortium to inject the expected capital of $13 million into the company's operations for a 70% stake. He noted the company is also to be considered for government stimulus package. The United States Agency of International Development, USAID Ghana, also says it will be considering support for the initiative. Kevin Sharp is the office director at the Economic Growth Department.
Typically for USAID, whether it's trade or whether it's helping to improve production in the agriculture sector, for example, in Ghana, we look at the entire value chain. And so if one of the major constraints is raw materials, and if that's textiles, then that's something that we would certainly look at. We're not currently doing any work in that specifically right now, but it's something that we would look at for sure.
The chief executive of Sleek Garment and Exports Limited, Nora Banaman Abbott, tells Joy Business the decision couldn't have come at a better time.
I remember that we had textile companies, some able to produce fabrics to make the shirts that you're wearing now. Somewhere along the way, with policies that allowed an open market, allowing exports in here and there, without some form of control, we killed our local textile industry, leaving even those producing specialized areas like African print struggling. And that is where we went wrong. But it's too late to go back on that. What we need is to generate business. We need more orders coming in. As the orders grow, investors in the textile sector will also choose to make here a destination to establish their businesses. We are importing most of our fabrics from China, whether on the open markets or directly for our business, where we could actually produce these here and generate jobs for our people. So we need to take a look at all of this. But it is a challenge for us. And looking at my sector, for instance, out of my sector, we could generate businesses for manufacturers of fastenings like zippers, buttons, little parts for machinery. You know, it's such a huge opportunity for us if we get things right. And I believe this is why this government has chosen my sector, the garment sector, as one area, garments and textiles as one area, or chosen it as a pillar to help develop our economy. And I believe they're on the right track.
An evaluation by PricewaterhouseCoopers shows a minimum of 20 million Ghana cedis may be required to make Volta Star Textiles viable, given its total debt of 13.4 million Ghana cedis as at May 2017.
The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, is kicking against moves by management of HFC Bank to outsource drivers employed by the bank. ICU believes many of the drivers who are members of the union will be laid off in the process without recourse to due procedures. Addressing some disgruntled drivers of the bank, General Secretary of the union, Solomon Kote, advised the drivers to go back to work while they engage management on the matter.
ICU is taken aback because as part of our organizing work, workers of HFC have expressed interest to join our union. A number of them has filled our forms, and from nowhere, management have taken a decision to say it is going ahead to outsource all the driver session. Whether or not it is a plan that is in the incubator before this day, we don't know. But we believe that management, having come to that understanding, should apprise themselves to the Labour Act. The Labour Act demands that if you are contemplating to do redundancy, you put the Chief Labour Officer on notice 3 months prior to your contemplation. This had not been done. Then all of a sudden, these workers were invited to come to Accra from all over their branches. And upon meeting the management in Accra last Saturday, they were handed over letters to say this is the end of your employment with the business. And we think this is an unfair labor practice.
Immediate effect, or at least there was a prior notice?
No notice. 1 month notice is what is being served. Okay, and we think they now have a union. For the fact that the certificate has not been issued, once they fill the union form, they are the bona fide members of the union. And the matter is that all matters of the employment and is subject for negotiations. Management have just told them we are going to give you 2 months' salary, and those of you who are interested, we are sending you to the Montran, group of business. This is not proper in tandem with the law. So ICU is saying that management, let's request ourselves, do the right thing. The redundancy is a right of employer. We cannot.
That's all in business tonight. Many thanks for your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a good evening.
A group of operators involved in retailing LPG have staged a protest in Tema against a recent directive by the National Petroleum Authority banning the LPG vending stations from refilling cylinders. The directive is aimed at curbing accidents arising from gas explosions at these filling stations. Instead, the cylinders will be refilled at gas bottling plants. But the operators are outraged, saying they will be thrown out of business, and are appealing to President Akufo-Addo to intervene.
We have been unjustifiably accused by the MPA authorities of literally setting fire and explosive to the whole country to justify our obnoxious plans and machinations. We want to assure the Ghanaian public that this accusation is a big lie without basis of foundation, and at best a rush and smoke screen. We are therefore asking the MPA to cite even one instance throughout the over 30 years of the association existence where an explosion has occurred in any gas plant while filling cylinders as it alleges. We also want the Ghanaian public to know that throughout the over 30 years existence of the Ghanaian privately LPG plant, there has been only 4 explosions in Kumasi, Tema, Newtown, Dansoman, and the Accra Newtown. Meanwhile, the MPA accuses us of having set countless fire to the whole country. The recent gas explosion at the factory in Takoradi is even being cited as an explosion on a gas plant.
Now return to our top story on the mid-year budget review presented by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The main budget he presented earlier in the year was hailed as an Asempa budget or good news budget for a number of reasons, including the scrapping of import duties on spare parts. Those duties were, however, not removed until a few weeks ago due to some bottlenecks. Spare parts traders at the Bosokai here in Accra are not happy it took that long, but they remain optimistic the effect will eventually be felt. They spoke with Joy News' Daniel Dante.
8 miles away from Parliament House. But here in Abosiokai, the decisions that are taken in the chamber affect every single life here. A few months ago, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced one of such decisions that affected so many people here: the removal of import duties on spare parts. This announcement was met with jubilation, with many people in this side of town expecting that it would affect their cost of doing business and will enable them to take good care of their families. But months down the line, is this the case? Have they seen the effect of this directive?
Changes and society in Fako. Whoever cover be no for cover be no solo. It drew baby a witty who said, Okona Cotadi and Obecona, shots, we shots never call Obecoy be a binyan by 3,000, Obeco work out 5,000. Tia born a dear, a breezy, a coffin to Sana, Aquay.
Now, Omotete, Omodian Sono, almost at the Intina, a bona buffer.
I'm see do a Muko you money manoa. Ye tassi be the feast in Tina Mom's or Mato money man's headache, a buffer. Even who be a horny man here from the intimacy a mammy, the Kota, Minyaka Crefiru.
Most of them, young who such any baby, but if I say, Noma, na head and yigidi. Nakakre, who say, the lesson bra abani change by no almost any cabeza 1 month to 2 months and some do na Korean in the man and almost almost spend 3 months there before Mbaban best 2 months after do nothing no maba or mobile you manema until no one be who say price and baba from bedu him actually no price head and cross rumia at said that I will say a money head and yet tight this is first no.
The general consensus seems to be that they have not seen the effects of this new removal of import duties. However, it looks like many of the traders here still have hope that this removal will take effect soon. For Joy News, I'm Daniel Daze, reporting from Abosiokai in Accra.
Now, scores of sanitary inspectors are heading your way if you live anywhere in the Accra metropolis. They will check your surroundings and impose spot fines if they observe filth. Companies and offices along the Independence Avenue stretch have already been visited and some of them summoned. Matilda Omega has more.
It's all in the bid to make Accra one of the cleanest cities in Africa, as envisaged by the president. This morning, it's been a long walk from the Akwaje interchange to the Ridge Runabout, where the Accra mayor, Nia J. Sowa, has been touring with his team to inspect facilities along the stretch to ensure they adhere to strict environmental practices.
Some years ago, the Metropolitan Assembly had city inspectors from the town council combing every corner of the city to ensure cleanliness. But what was thought to be a fantastic idea soon outlived its effectiveness. Today, the AMA is reactivating the Sama-Sama concept, where sanitation inspectors mandated to ensure clean environment can punish offenders for insanitary environment. It's part of the mayor's plan to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. On Monday morning, the Accra mayor and his team paid unannounced visits to offices and companies along the Independence Avenue. At least 2 companies have been served warning notices and given 5 days to keep a clean environment. The Barclays Social Center and Independence Avenue branch of Cal Bank were outrightly served. The verdict was based on the inspection carried out on the pedestrian walkways, lawns, outside and inside perimeters of the offices. The mayor, as a way of encouraging those who maintained clean environment, presented plaques.
The Independence Avenue is the starting point of a broader Accra-wide strategy that we have. We are not ending there. In fact, we wish we could come to Movenpick. If you come to Movenpick and you see just in front of Movenpick, they have allowed their frontage to be used by taxi drivers, like they are creating a taxi station there. They have allowed their frontage also to be a resting place for all kinds of people over there, and that cannot be allowed. The law requires that you keep your surroundings also clean, as well as your inner compound. So we wish to come to those areas as a continuous process, and we'll continue to tomorrow.
The rich residence of former President Rawlings sits along the Independence Avenue, where the AMA conducted the inspection. This initiative received commendation from the former president when the mayor paid an unannounced visit to his residence.
In our community, we used to have the Tangase, we used to have what do we call it? The police, the enforcement agencies, etc. Go to the school compounds, there's not one single policeman. A high sense of discipline, and that discipline is reflected in their compound to look as clean as it does. I'm saying not a single policeman is on those compounds. Do you understand what I'm saying? And yet we are the adults. Oh, no, no. It affects us in so many ways. Oh no. You corruption here. This is part of the corruption. Take the fight to them. Environment.
The deployment of the sanitary inspectors to parts of the Accra metropolis officially takes effect from Wednesday, 2nd August 2017. Matilda Pomaga for Joy News, Accra.
Also, city authorities in Kumasi are lauding efforts by residents to confront sanitation challenges in the metropolis. It follows the arrest of 2 people by residents of Dichenso for dumping waste at an unauthorized location days after a massive cleanup. Kumasi Metropolitan Chief Executive Osei Entry spoke to Love News during a night cleanup in the Central Business District of Edum. Nanaya Ojima reports.
One of the 2 culprits is on remand, while police are processing the other for court. Enforcement of sanitation laws is key to the agenda to restore Kumasi to its green look that earned its Garden City of West Africa accolade. Beside KMA's tree planting project, massive cleanup exercises will be undertaken regularly to keep the city tidy. Mr. Esibe Entry says the assembly will need collaboration of residents to achieve its objectives.
The effort of volunteers, because last Saturday we were at Menshia, closer to Otunfo's Palace. We went there, cleared the area, get the place clean. And on Monday, the people there called us to complain that they've seen that people have come there, throw a lot of garbages there. So the work that we did has come to naught. So hurriedly, I dispatched a team. The team went there and cleared the area. So when the people saw our efforts, they decided that this time round, they were going to keep watch. So it was the effort of the people around. They rather get hold of the person, drag the person to the police station before even calling us. So all those 2 guys that has been arrested, it wasn't the KMA workers, but it was the individuals within the area. So this means that now if you are in Kumasi and you want to litter, you have to be careful. Other than that, somebody will get hold of you and drag you to police station.
The night cleanup is joint effort by KME and the Ghana National Fire Service. Pro-NPP vigilante group Invincible Forces was also at the second edition to lend a hand. Mustafa Mohammed Al-Hassan is leader in the Ashanti region.
We are here to join them to clean up the town, to make sure that we maintain sanity, to prevent our children and our nephews from getting sick and then getting illness. First of all, I made mention of that we are all good citizens. And then as a good citizens, you need to do something to defend the people behind us. So whoever is done something wrong or maybe goes against the law, definitely the law, we have to use our strength to grab the person and send it to the police so that the law will take its own cost.
Nana Aljima reporting.
Now, to the galamsey operators who are worried about losing their jobs, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, has told Parliament government has disbursed 56 million cedis for an emergency program aimed at reclaiming lands and water bodies that have been destroyed due to illegal mining activities. Ken Ofori-Atta also added a new initiative by government is expected to deliver over 500,000 job opportunities to the youth. The 5-year multilateral mining integration project, according to the minister, will train thousands of small-scale miners to pick up skills in other fields, such as government clamps down on illegal mining.
Previous piecemeal attempt of solving the challenge of illicit mining in the country has not seen any significant result. The government has therefore put together a 5-year project called Multilateral Mining Integration Project. This will address the problem over the 5-year period, creating over 500,000 job opportunities in phases. Training 100,000 small-scale miners, reclaiming 7,140 kilometers of total land size in Ghana, prospecting of 2,500 kilometers, build skills for employment, create 100,000 jobs, and create 20,000 acres of oil palm plantation. Currently, government has constituted a 7-member ministerial team to provide a medium-term solution. Government has already disbursed 56 million to an emergency program. Most of the degraded areas have been tested for mercury levels and are ready for reclamation. Over 3,000 floating platforms on most of the rivers in Ashanti, Eastern, Central, Western, and Brown Harbour regions have been removed from those rivers. More than 1,300 earth-moving equipment have also been taken out from the sites. Our rivers are showing signs of improvement, thereby returning our treatment plants back to work. YEA. Mr. Speaker, the agency, with approximately 62,000 beneficiaries, have since June this year introduced beneficiary time sheets to address the practice whereby beneficiaries are paid without any records of work done. The agency is ensuring value for money, protecting the public purse and efficiency, and has increased the beneficiaries' monitoring assistance from 256 to 600. The agency has started a process to recruit, Mr. Speaker, over 60,000 unemployed youth under the following models: youth in security, youth in afforestation, youth in graduate internship, youth in paid internship, and youth in sanitation.
Now, the people of Wusuta and the Nordai district of Volta region are challenging accounts in the Bible about the final resting place of Jesus Christ. Though theologians say this would be somewhere in present-day Jerusalem, the people of Wusuta believe the Savior of the world was actually buried somewhere in their community called Petropeta. Joy News' Latif Idris has been to the rocky sacred terrain and has alternative facts about where Jesus Christ was buried.
So apparently, the Volta region is not just about the largest lake in the world by surface area, the Lake Volta, Mountain Afajato, the highest mountain in the whole of West Africa, located at the altitude of 740 meters above sea level, or the Wuli Waterfall, among others. It also has sacred religious sites, even though these may not be that well known. The world's religions comes with various beliefs that come together to form the faith. Talk about Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, Hinduism, you can name it. These religions have their own beliefs. In Christianity,
the belief is that Jesus Christ died and was buried in Jerusalem. But there is a new development here at Petrokpeta, at Wusuta in the Volta region. The people here believe that this place is the final resting place of Jesus Christ. I have an individual here who knows the ins and outs of Petrokpeta.
It is believed that the gravesite that people visited when Christ was buried, we have the gravesite here, of which the citizens and other citizens in the country visit, and then the ground serves as a prayer ground. When they come here, they believe that when they leave, all their sicknesses, blah blah, gone. So like the seven that we have here.
So you are going to take us through some features here?
Yeah.
So first of it is this?
Is the 7.
Okay.
The 7 here signifies the reefs that I'll take you through. We have the 7 reefs at one side, so it is boldly written here. And then the blood of Jesus Christ when he was crucified.
Okay.
The spots. So as you can see, these are the spots of the blood when.
So these are blood spots of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
When he was crucified.
When he was crucified. Now, when you see this picture, the 4, it is believed that before the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
So you can come down and talk about it.
It is believed that before he was crucified, he prayed with 3 of his disciples in addition to him. Therefore, we have the feature 4 here.
4.
Yes. Now, I'll take you to another picture, which is at the down here.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will be taking you to a ground where the 7 reefs of Christ Jesus is located.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where is that?
It is located here. Yeah.
So this is.
This is the 7 reefs of Jesus Christ. As you can count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So
Jesus must be such a huge
creator. Yes.
You also mentioned that we have the graveside where Jesus Christ was buried finally. Let's move to the graveside and tell us more about it.
All right. At first it was top. It was somewhere.
So it's been broken
down to this level.
We all know in the Bible Jesus Christ died and was buried in Jerusalem. This is not Jerusalem.
This is not Jerusalem, but this is the belief of the people of Wusuta, that Christ was buried here.
And they are Christians.
They are Christians.
And this belief will be disputed worldwide by religious, scholars and believers of the faith of Christianity. But the people of Wusuta in the Volta region still believe that this is the final resting place of Jesus Christ. People come here to break this stone. And myself, I'm gonna.
It is not easy.
Yeah.
Let me help.
I'm gonna break a piece of it. All right, so I have a piece here.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to take this piece and then experiment to find out if indeed it's gonna work for me. There were other places of interest such as this cave, which was a key landmark during the slave trade era.
During the slave trade,
clearly, and let me make this point, there is this smell here which tells you that people indeed lived here years ago.
Exactly.
You can still feel that smell.
Yes.
You were saying?
Yes, during the slave trade, this is a transit point from here to Wusuta where the river Volta is, you understand? So they were trading with human beings through this route. And so when the people approach our area, people got to know that there were people around buying human beings, for sale. And so they tried to hide from the people. So this is where some of them came to hide.
The district also boasts of the River Dye and the accompanying estuary, just one of the many attractions the area has to offer. How has that impacted?
as exploration of the estuary. You know, if we do that, then we develop the place. Government is going to come in, central government is going to come in, and then we have.
Right, but that's it for the bulletin. My name is Suzuela. Have a good night.